Success doesn't start when you feel ready. It starts when you begin. At the corner of an old street stood an empty storefront. Dust covered the windows. The sign above the entrance had faded long ago. Every morning, 30-year-old Nathan slowed down as he walked past it on his way to work. He imagined turning it into a bookstore, a coffee shop, a creative studio, a place where people came to dream again. He had imagined it for nearly 4 years. Friends believed he was planning. Nathan believed he was preparing. But deep inside, something else was happening. He was waiting until he had more money, waiting until he learned more, waiting until the economy improved, waiting until he felt ready. One rainy morning, he noticed an elderly woman unlocking the same abandoned building. Curious, he introduced himself. "I've always dreamed of renting this place." The woman smiled. "So why haven't you?" Nathan laughed awkwardly. "I'm not ready." She looked at him for a long moment. Then she quietly asked, "Do you know how many people have told me that?" Nathan shrugged. "Hundreds." She nodded. "And do you know how many came back after they felt ready?" He waited for her answer. "None." Before leaving, she handed him an old brass key. "This doesn't open the building. It opens a different question." Nathan looked confused. "What question?" The woman smiled. "What if ready isn't something you feel? What if it's something you become after you begin?" Nathan stared at the key all day. It felt heavier than metal. It felt like responsibility. That evening, Nathan visited his grandfather. While cleaning the attic, they discovered an old violin covered in dust. Its strings were loose. Its case had almost fallen apart. Nathan asked, "Did you ever play?" His grandfather smiled. "Not well. Then why keep it?" The old man gently picked it up. "Because it reminds me of something. When I was your age, I wanted to become a musician. So what happened? I waited until I felt ready." He looked out the window. "Then work became busy. I got married. I had children. I paid bills. Life kept moving." Nathan asked quietly, "Did you ever become ready?" His grandfather smiled sadly. "No, I only became older." Silence filled the attic. Finally, the old man tightened one string and played a single imperfect note. It sounded terrible. He laughed. "But that's how every musician begins. Nobody starts by sounding beautiful. They become beautiful because they refuse to stop." Nathan looked at the violin. Perhaps talent wasn't the beginning. Perhaps beginning was. The next weekend, Nathan traveled into the countryside. He came across an old engineer supervising workers building a bridge across a river. Half the bridge had been completed. The other half stretched into empty space. Nathan asked, "How did you know the bridge would reach the other side?" The engineer smiled. "We didn't." Nathan looked surprised. "What if you had failed?" "We would have corrected it." The engineer pointed to the unfinished structure. "Nobody builds a bridge by standing safely on one side. You build by placing one beam after another, sometimes perfectly, sometimes imperfectly, but always moving." He continued, "People think confidence comes first. It doesn't. Movement comes first. Confidence catches up later." Nathan stood quietly watching the workers. None of them were building the entire bridge. They were simply laying today's beam. Success wasn't created by giant leaps. It was assembled through ordinary beginnings. Nathan returned home and found a brand new notebook. On the first page, he wrote, "Things I will begin before I feel ready." He listed 10 dreams. Start the business. Learn public speaking. Exercise consistently. Write 1 page each day. Repair family relationships. Save money. Study leadership. Volunteer. Pray daily. Travel. Then he made one promise. He would take one imperfect step every single day. The first business proposal was rejected. His first public speech was awkward. His first workout lasted only 15 minutes. His first article received almost no attention. But every evening, he crossed one task off his list. Small victories slowly replaced fear. He discovered something remarkable. Action was dissolving doubt faster than thinking ever had. Each imperfect beginning was quietly creating a stronger version of himself. 18 months later, a local entrepreneur announced he was looking for someone to partner with on a growing business. Dozens of experienced professionals applied. Nathan almost ignored the opportunity. "I'm probably not ready." Then he remembered the old brass key, the violin, the bridge, the notebook. He submitted his application anyway. During the interview, the entrepreneur asked one unexpected question. "Tell me about a time you started before you felt ready." Nathan smiled. He shared everything. The failed presentations, the rejected proposals, the uncomfortable speeches, the imperfect beginnings. When the interview ended, the entrepreneur shook his hand. "I wasn't looking for the most experienced person. I was looking for someone who knows how to begin." Nathan received the partnership, not because he had become fearless, but because he had stopped waiting for fear to disappear. 25 years later, Nathan sat on the front porch with his teenage daughter. She had just been accepted into university, yet she hesitated. "What if I fail?" Nathan smiled. He reached into his pocket. The old brass key was still there. He handed it to her. "I've carried this for 25 years. What does it open? It reminds me of a question." She waited. "What if ready isn't something you feel? What if it's something you become after you begin?" She turned the key in her hand. "It doesn't unlock anything. Nathan smiled. It unlocked my life. The next morning she left for university. Not because every fear had disappeared, but because she finally understood courage. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's movement despite it. Somewhere today, someone is waiting to start the business, waiting to write the book, waiting to change careers, waiting to improve their health, waiting to repair a relationship, waiting to chase a dream, waiting to feel ready. Maybe that someone is you. Here's what life quietly teaches. Nobody feels completely prepared for the biggest moments. Parents aren't fully ready before their first child. Entrepreneurs aren't fully ready before opening their first business. Authors aren't fully ready before publishing their first book. Leaders aren't fully ready before accepting responsibility. The people you admire didn't succeed because they felt ready. They succeeded because they respected action more than comfort. Every expert was once a beginner. Every confident speaker once trembled before an audience. Every successful business once had its first uncertain customer. Every masterpiece once began as a blank page. Readiness isn't the entrance fee for success. Beginning is. The first step won't remove every obstacle. It won't erase every fear. It won't guarantee immediate success. But it will do something far more valuable. It will transform who you are becoming. One day you'll look back and realize something extraordinary. The hardest part wasn't the work. The hardest part was taking the first step. Everything changed after that. Not because life became easier. Because you became stronger. Because action teaches lessons that waiting never can. Because confidence is earned through movement, not imagination. So whatever dream keeps returning to your heart, whatever conversation you've postponed, whatever opportunity keeps knocking, whatever future keeps calling your name, answer it. Not when you're fearless. Not when you're perfect. Not when every question has been answered. Answer it today. Because success never waits for people to feel ready. It belongs to those willing to begin. If this message challenged the way you think, subscribe to the Legacy Mind, where every conversation is designed to help you think deeper, live wiser, and become more. Remember this, you don't become ready and then begin. You begin and slowly become ready. Success doesn't start when you feel ready. It starts the moment you decide to take the first step,